Hello, this is Bill Steffen. Thanks for coming aboard. Hey, tell you what, Old Man Winter is coming to Michigan. Blizzard warnings for parts of the state of Michigan, and we'll show you that in just a minute. Let's take a look at some of the advisories and watches that are under effect right now throughout the area. First of all, our headlines: winter storm warnings across much of the area. That's for 2 to 8 inches of snow here in West Michigan, plus some drifting on top of that. Strong winds, we could see gusts of 55 miles an hour here, especially at the Lakeshore. That could down a few tree limbs and cause some power outages, so beware of that. Hazardous driving, not only do we have to worry about slippery conditions with the snow starting to stick here later today and tonight, but we also have to worry about the fact that there could be some icy spots out there just due to melting and freezing that we're going to have going on here across the area. All right, let's start out and take a look at the winter storm warning. Now, this is a map that's got lots of colors on it, so we'll go through them one by one. The pink areas are areas where there's a winter storm warning. What you're going to see in those areas, if you look down on the bottom there, it says 2 to 8 inches of snow. Whiteout conditions are expected and will make travel treacherous and potentially life-threatening. Gusts of 55 miles an hour. So what you're going to be doing is driving along, and you're going to hit one of those big gusts there, and it's going to stir up the snow, and all of a sudden the visibility is going to go to zero for a little bit. So don't overdrive what you can see. Allow enough time to get where you're going. And, when you can, stay put and don't be out there on the roads. Okay, that's the pink, and that's for Wednesday today and for Wednesday night. Okay, and the pink color, all of those. Now we're going to go to the next one, and that's the counties in purple. Those are winter weather advisories, where total snow accumulations are going to be between 2 and 4 inches and winds gusting to around 45 miles an hour. So not quite as bad, but still pretty bad. Now that includes Grand Rapids, with the heavier snow amounts just a little bit south of Grand Rapids and a little bit north of Grand Rapids. That's the winter weather advisory. Now, the next slide is the high wind warning that we have in effect, and that is basically right at the Lakeshore. Though the high wind warning covers all the counties at the Lakeshore, but you only see 2 counties in yellow, and that's because the winter storm warning overrides the high wind warning. There's a list of priorities, and your county can only be one color. So that's what's going on. But if you look down at the bottom, the counties that are included in this are Mason, Oceana, Muskegon, Ottawa, Allegan, and Van Buren counties. And that's for gusts as high as 50 to 60 miles an hour. And that could, like I said, down some limbs, certainly cause the sand to blow around if it's not frozen down. Certainly one of the tougher storms that we've had to face here so far this year. But that is the the high wind warning, and that is for all the Lakeshore counties. It does not include Benton Harbor and Berrien County, because with the west wind, there's less distance to come across the lake there. So that means they're going to be slightly different. They'll get a little bit less snow when you're down there in Berrien County. All right, let's go on and take a look at the wind advisory. Now, that covers everybody, okay? If you don't have a high wind warning, you have a wind advisory. Now, that shows up in the tan color off to the east of Ionia, and that's because there aren't any other warnings out there. So the tan kind of rises to the top. We have the wind advisory. But this is for gusts as high as about 45 miles an hour. There may be an isolated gust higher than that, and that's from 7 a.m. this morning to 7 a.m. Thanksgiving morning. Boy, this is going to make for a nasty turkey trot, all these runs that are going on here. Pretty hard to do. All right, let's go on to the next one here. We have the blizzard warning, and this is for the Lake Superior shoreline. It runs all the way from northwest Wisconsin across the Porcupine Mountains, the Keweenaw Peninsula. The higher elevations west of Marquette are really going to get slammed, and then east of Marquette over toward Munising and Grand Marais. Everybody in the UP is going to see snow. This will certainly help the ski resorts get going here next week if they want to open that early. But there will be a lot of snow. And look at down at the bottom from the National Weather Service. Total snow accumulations in some areas are going to be between 17 and 30 inches. That doesn't count the drifting. Greatest to be in the higher terrain, which is in the Keweenaw and especially west of Marquette. There's an area up there near a town called Herman, Michigan. For many years, there was a weather observer in Herman by the name of Leonard Lottie, and he used to send reports back, and they would get some incredible snowfalls, and this will certainly be one of them. Nasty day and tough driving. Boy, if you got someplace to go up in the UP, beware of the fact that you're going to have to, maybe even think twice about whether you want to go or not, especially if you're heading up to Copper Harbor or something like that. All right, let's go on now. Take a look at the next slide. 66-hour snowfall. And again, this is for 3 days. So this encompasses Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And you can see the heavy snow that's downwind from each of the Great Lakes. Lake Superior, of course, huge amounts of snowfall in upper Michigan. Canada is not included in this map. I wish they were. But you can see the heavy snow falling east of Lake Erie and east of Lake Ontario. There's also heavy snow out west. Look at the snow out in Glacier National Park and then the Cascade Range in Washington. So pretty interesting day. A lot of snow going on in the northern U.S. All right, we'll zoom in a little bit closer with the next map and show you that the red areas where they expect the heaviest snow. If you look at the legend off to the side, we're talking 18 inches plus for parts of extreme northwest Wisconsin, up across, like I said, the Porcupine Mountains, Painesdale, Houghton, up toward Copper Harbor, and then east to the area just to the west of Marquette. In lower Michigan, you can see there's an orange area, and that's a foot of snow, and that would be up toward Kalkaska, Mansalona. You can see the split areas with the heavier snow north of Kent County and also south of Kent County, downwind from the fattest part of Lake Michigan. All right, let's go to the next one. We've zoomed in a little bit farther here, or a little bit further, and you can see that we've got from Allegan and Berry County on down toward Cass, Berrien County, Indiana border. That area is going to be seeing snow, and the orange is 8 inches plus. So again, you look off to the north and northwest of Big Rapids. If you're going up north along M37, US 131, you're going to run into that heavy snow. Now, the heaviest snow is not right at the lakeshore. When you have a strong wind, it blows the heavier lake effect inland. So when you have a really strong wind that's going to be accompanying this storm, you're going to find that there's more snow along US 131 than there is along US 31 at the lakeshore. But the lakeshore is going to get the strongest winds. And like I said, computer models are forecasting gusts up to 60 miles an hour at the lake, and that's pretty nasty. All right, on to the next slide we have here. This is the Lakeshore forecast, the official Lakeshore forecast. You can see it was pretty quiet out there on Tuesday. We had pretty calm conditions out there. A few people were walking around, and here's what we expect here for Wednesday. Winds will be increasing during the morning. West winds of 30 to 50 knots by afternoon, and they're going for waves up to 24 feet. That may be a touch on the high side, but I mean, even if it were half that, that'd be 12-foot waves, and that's pretty extraordinary. So again, certainly want to stay off the piers and breakwaters. And like I said, it's going to be kind of nasty there, especially if there's some blowing snow or blowing sand for a while. That can kind of hurt. Now we have storm warnings for Wednesday and Wednesday night. Storm warnings are higher than gale warnings, but below hurricane warnings. It goes small craft, and then on to gale warnings, and then storm warnings, and then hurricane warnings. So we're not quite up the hurricane stage, but this is going to be pretty nasty around here. Very seldom you see a storm warning for Lake Michigan. And the copy says southwest gales to 45 knots. Southwest winds will switch a little bit more to the due west. Storm force winds to 50 knots, that's 60 miles an hour early in the afternoon. Snow showers, more like a steady snow at times. Waves 12 to 16 feet, building to 20 to 24 feet in the late morning and afternoon. So again, a pretty nasty day coming up. All right, let's go on to the next one here. This is the all hazards map. For anybody that's going to be doing any traveling, this is available at the website of the Storm Prediction Center, and it has into account all of the winter weather warnings and advisories across the across the United States. I've zoomed into just the Great Lakes area here. The purple over Lake Michigan is the storm warnings, and you can see the warnings in Lake Michigan, or in West Michigan. You've got the pink for winter storm warnings, the purple color for an advisory, the red color is a blizzard warning. There's also a blizzard warning for Northeast South Dakota, and winter storm warnings for much of the state of Minnesota. All that tan color across Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Northwest Ohio, those are wind advisories. And for Southwest Michigan too. And this is for Wednesday and Wednesday night. Some of the advisories continue into the day on Thursday. All right, what else do we have here for you? We'll take a look at today's weather. 37 degrees is really what we're going to see in the morning. It's going to fall to around 32 and then hang there all day. Rain showers early in the morning will change over to snow showers pretty quickly, and it will be all snow here for the midday and afternoon. Humidity only goes down to 85%, so the roads are going to stay wet and then eventually icy if enough cold air gets in here, if it snows heavy enough. Southwest to west winds 20 to 30 miles an hour. Those may increase to 30 to 35 miles an hour during the afternoon. Again, wind gusts 45 to 55 inland and 50 to 60 at Lake Michigan. We'll look at some high temperatures across the area today. Here's what those look like. High temperatures occurring shortly after midnight today. We've probably already reached the high by the time most of you take a look at this. And you can see the colder air coming in. We're down to 35 at Oshkosh. Still 48 today at Detroit. That high temperature probably reached around 11 o'clock in the morning before temperatures start to fall. And you can see the cold air coming into the UP. Some temperatures at or below freezing in the western UP. And it's even colder on Thursday. Thursday's map looks like this. We'll be seeing temperatures here. This is Wednesday and Thursday. The temperatures across the country. If you want to get out of here, run to the airport in the morning and head to Florida. We talked about Lakeland, Florida yesterday, but Lakeland ought to be low 80s during the afternoon. Beautiful day down there. 70s up the coast, almost all the way to Washington, D.C. You can see the coldest air centered over the Midwest, the Great Lakes, and the northeastern U.S. All right, now we'll take a look at Thursday's temperatures for the state of Michigan. And look at that. Those are high temperatures. 32 for Grand Rapids is all. 31 Kalamazoo, where it may be snowing a bit harder. 31 also down there toward the Three Rivers area. Just 36 in Detroit, 33 Chicago, 34 Traverse City, 30 Gaylord. And up in the UP, just 26 at Iron Mountain and Iron River. We mentioned yesterday Ski Brule was open. It's maybe tough there. You may be skiing uphill with the wind being as strong as what it is, but they're going to pile snow up not just in inches, but maybe in feet, and that means some great skiing a possibility here for the second and third weeks of December. All right, let's go on and take a look at the 5-day forecast. Rain changes over to snow today, a 100% chance of measurable precipitation. And then for Thanksgiving Day, it's an 80% chance of snow. There won't be any rain Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday because it's too cold for that. 40% chance on Friday. That would be generally in the morning. There may be some breaks in the clouds Friday afternoon. Saturday, if there's snow, it will likely come during the afternoon or late in the day. And then snow is likely on Sunday. There's another deep low pressure system that's going to be coming across the Great Lakes on Sunday. And if that's in the right spot, we could see at least several inches of snow from that here Sunday into Monday. So I know some of you kids are already thinking, oh, snow day. Well, it's a little early to be speculating on that. Enjoy your day off here Thursday, that's for sure. But you can see those cold temperatures, 37 today, shortly after midnight, and then 32, 31, and 30. Average temperatures are low 40s. Those are about 10 degrees colder than average here for this time of year. This is not the coldest air in the Northern Hemisphere. The really coldest air is still staying up in Canada. Okay, we're getting little lobes of cold coming down here across the relatively warm Great Lakes, producing lake effect snow. But it's certainly possible later this month or even later this winter that the bulk of that chill is going to break loose. It's really cold in Siberia. That's where the coldest air is in the northern hemisphere. But northern Canada is very cold too, and that may break loose and come down. All right, the 8 to 14 day outlook. Not much change here. We're still colder than average across the Midwest, the Great Lakes, and the Northeast. It will be warm down towards southern Florida, so this cold front doesn't quite get down to where it's going to do much damage down there in terms of knocking down the warmer than average pattern. So we can look for lots of days in the 70s to low 80s here as we enter early December down in Florida. South Texas looking good. Near normal for Phoenix, Arizona is about low 70s, so that's what they expect there. But we'll be freezing up here. We're going to have goosebumps up here in the Great Lakes area. And in terms of precipitation, near to slightly above average. They probably stopped at Chicago because they're a little concerned about additional lake effect snow here. A lot of snow falling in the mountains out west. You can see that above average area out there. They're going to have an early and pretty good start to the ski season out there in the western U.S. All right, that's what we have to talk about weather. Exciting day here. Do be careful out there during the day today. November 26th, Thanksgiving milestones, 1789. Thanksgiving held as proclaimed by George Washington. And that goes all the way back to the founding of our country. 1863, Abraham Lincoln proclaims the final Thursday in November as Thanksgiving, since 1940s, observed on the fourth Thursday. In Canada, I believe it's the first Monday in October. And I got an interesting story on that I tell people. I had a friend of mine, a fraternity brother, that was looking at a job offer up in Alberta, northern Alberta, Canada. And he asked him how cold. He was concerned about it being so cold for so long in winter. He says, when does the real cold start? And they wrote him back and said it was around Thanksgiving Day. And he goes up there and he finds out, well, Thanksgiving's in early October, not in late November. So they had a lot of extra winter days there than they had in Wisconsin. All right, some interesting historical notes there. Taking a look at, go ahead to the next one here. November 26, 1942, Casablanca premieres. Humphrey Bogart, Ingrid Bergman. Yeah, that was an amazing movie. Sidney Greenstreet, Peter Lorre. He was contemplating a crime, as they said in that song. So that was one to be remembered, Bogey. And that was a movie that was framed for the 1940s, everything that was going on then. All right, let's come on to the next slide here. November 26 birthdays. Willis Carrier, who invented air conditioning, I believe. Yes, HVAC. Charles Schulz created the comic strip Peanuts, which you can still read in MLive, the new Grand Rapids press. Charles Schulz was an amazing man, and his legend goes on. He was born in 1922, so if he were still alive, he would be 103, and there are others that are drawing his strip, and there is people reliving the old Peanut strips too. So it was interesting, but a lot of people like Charlie Brown and Linus and the gang, and their Christmas special, I'm sure, will be up on whatever network owns the rights to that, probably running for many years to come. All right, let's go on to the next slide here. Happy birthday to Grand Rapids native Ike Irish. Oh, yeah. Ike is a catcher for the Baltimore Orioles. He was a first-round draft pick and 19th overall selection, born November 26, 2003, so he is 22. Attended Hudsonville High School. His uncle, Jake Boss, coaches Michigan State baseball. By the way, speaking of sports, Michigan's basketball team had two amazing victories. I mean, they've won 2 games in a row by a total of 70 points. Beat Auburn. I wonder what Charles Barkley has to say about that. He beat Auburn by 30 points. But we will salute Ike Irish. Enjoy your birthday and stay warm out there. Not really baseball weather today, that's for sure. All right, November 26, 1990. And this was interesting. I don't know if anybody of you remember this, but Chilly Willy was a balloon in the Detroit Thanksgiving Day Parade. One of those big, huge balloons, held down. Well, he made a break for it before the parade even started. It was a windy day. Now, Michelle has been a balloon handler before, in the Macy's parade. So she could probably tell you more about this. Made a break for it before the parade even started. It was a windy day. The Coast Guard found him in Lake St. Clair on the Canadian side. He had traveled nearly 30 miles before he was taken into custody by authorities. Yeah, Willie can't do that. But yeah, that's quite a talent to be able to control those balloons, to lift them under wires and making sure everybody stays safe. I got attacked by the turkey once in the parade in Grand Rapids. I think it was the Santa Claus parade, if I'm not mistaken. But they had this giant inflatable turkey. It wasn't up in the air; it was down on the ground. But it broke loose and came and bonked me from behind, and threw me into a woman who was sitting in a lawn chair. She thought that was extremely funny. I did not. That did not look funny. But it took them a long time to disentangle the ropes and to get everything back moving again. All right, let's go on to the next one here. Well, that is not recently. This is the F4 Saugatuck, Michigan tornado in 1956. This doesn't have anything to do with today, but as Michelle or Alex was researching this show, I found this cool public domain photo of the 1956 Saugatuck, Holland tornado. There were two tornadoes that day that were along the same path. The first one came onshore at Saugatuck, wrecked the lighthouse there, and moved onshore, dissipated, and then pretty much instantly the Hudsonville-Standale tornado developed. That was the most destructive of the two. There were 17 fatalities, and I believe we were up to 340 injured. Mass casualty event for sure at local hospitals. That was in 1956 on April 3rd. 7 injuries with this first tornado, the F4 tornado that went through Saugatuck, and no fatalities, a 9-mile path. That moved a 500-pound block of concrete about a block away. So, I mean, tornadoes can do some pretty incredible things. The picture here is in the rope stage, where the tornado kind of is still very strong. You can see it's kind of hard to see, but you can see the dust cloud and debris down toward the bottom there. And then as soon as this one dissipated, it formed another tornado there. But interesting picture. Thanks for finding that. All right, we have some pictures here from Bernie Engels. That, I believe, that's obviously a galaxy, but it looks like the Andromeda Galaxy with a galaxy below it. I mean, it's hard to imagine when you look out in space and you see billions and billions and billions and billions of stars. And you have to realize that each one of those stars is a sun. Now, do they have planets revolving around them? For the most part, we don't know. Are there any little green men from the planet Kermit Zarley or something like that? No, I don't know. All right, let's go on to the next slide. See what we have here for you. Another picture from Bernie. The Andromeda Galaxy, nearest major galaxy to the Milky Way galaxy, which is what we are in. Can be seen without a telescope in dark skies. There's too much artificial light around immediate Grand Rapids to see it. It was first mentioned in literature in 964 AD by an astronomer, an unknown astronomer, but very interesting to see that. It's interesting how the laws of physics apply throughout the universe. You would have the same gravity on the moon or Mars as you would have on Earth. All right, do we have another one? Yes, Bernie took the image with the camera shutter open for 3 hours. That's why it's so detailed. Isn't that really neat that somebody can take a picture like that sharp, and know what to do, how to put all the buttons in the right place? The elliptical ball below Andromeda is also a galaxy, but it's much smaller. Or it could be much farther away. In this case, it is smaller, but it could be much farther away too, showing up as a little dot. But it's interesting. If you ever get the chance to go out to the observatory that's out on Kissing Rock Road, what a name for a road, huh? But you can go out there and take a look at the stars through the telescopes that the GRAAA, the Amateur Astronomical Association, has, and really fun to see. All right, let's go on to the next slide here. We have from Ledina. This is Sunday, November 23rd, east of Big Rapids. And you can see a couple things there. First of all, note the sun pillar right above the center, maybe just slightly below the midpoint there. The sun is shining off little tiny particles in the air, or little tiny ice crystals, and it creates that pillar as light is bent upward like that. You can also see the sun reflecting off the bottom of the clouds. And as I've said before, a shot like that may only last for 2 or 3 minutes before it's done. So if you see something like that, count yourself lucky. Thanks, Ladina, for passing that along to us. Really pretty shot. Here's a look at a flag from John Doherty. Flags have been running at half mast in remembrance of former Vice President Dick Cheney. And you can see the flag here showing relative. We've had light winds here the past couple of days, but boy, I tell you, it's really going to crank up here later today and into tonight. But we salute America and we salute the flag. Thanks, John. And we have another really interesting picture to share with you here. This one from John Scully, I believe. And we'll take a look at that. And that one shows the lights of Milwaukee, 4 a.m. from Muskegon. So it's 4 a.m. You know it's dark. It's not twilight or anything like that. And in fact, if you look just a little bit right of center, you can see the constellation Orion. You can see the 3 stars all in a row that represent the belt of Orion, and the 4 prominent stars there that are, part of the constellation. You can see that he's also. This is something that's I guess we could call a mirage, where the lights reflect off higher clouds or reflect and bend, refract. Instead of going in a straight line, they kind of bend and hug the earth. And that's why we're able to see light. We sometimes can see on rare occasion, and it's usually in late April or May, when we can see the lights of Chicago on a day when the water temperatures are cold and the air temperatures are a little bit warmer. But very interesting shot, John. Thanks so much for sharing that with us. Well, I think it's about time to wrap things up. Let's see if we can go to the next one. Yeah, that's the snow picture. We are in for a couple of days here, and it's kind of tough to have this occur over a holiday season, but stay up with later forecasts, everybody. Again, winter storm warning for much of West Michigan. Otherwise, you're under a winter weather advisory. This is for 2 to 8 inches of snow, along with blowing snow, reduced visibilities, very strong winds, inland gusts of 45, at the Lakeshore gust of 55, and perhaps even 60. There's the possibility for some power outages and some tree limbs to come down. Stay safe, everybody. Have yourself a wonderful Thanksgiving.